Alright, so let's do the chapter 3 test review, part 2. So 3.4 is really simple. So it's asking us to use theorems about perpendicular lines to find the value of x. Well, if I have a perpendicular right here, this little box, the right angle, then that means this degree is also a right angle. So is this one, and so is this one. So if this whole angle is 90 degrees, and this part is 31, and this part is x, well, I just have to do 31 plus that x is equal to 90. And my answer should be 59. 59. Good. So now, once again, what is the measure of angle 4? Well, if angle 1 is 90, what is angle 4? It's also 90 because 1 and 4 are vertical angles. So the answer is 90. Okay? If the measure of angle 5 is 61 degrees, the measure of angle 6 is, well, if 5 is 61 and this whole angle is 90, then I can just do this measure of angle 5, which is 61, plus the measure of angle 6 is equal to 90. So what is this? This would be 29. You just have to subtract, right? So now, the distinct lines A, B, C, and D are in the same plane. Draw a diagram of the relationship given below, then tell how A and D relate. So if we look at these diagrams, we need to find the one that A and B are parallel, B and C are parallel, and C and D are perpendicular. So here we have that A is parallel to B, so that's good here. Then we have that B is also parallel to D, but they never once said B is parallel to D, so this one's wrong. And you can go through all of these, and the only one that is correct is D. Now, A is parallel to B, B is parallel to C, and C is perpendicular to D. Well, if all of these guys are perpendicular to each other, parallel to each other, this parallel, if these two are parallel, and these two are also parallel, then that means everything is parallel to each other. And if the intersection of this transversal C and this transverse line C and this transversal D creates a 90 degree, then the angle here is also 90 and the angle here is also 90. So that means that B is also perpendicular to D and A is also perpendicular to D. And that is the answer that would be right here. The line A is perpendicular to D because A is parallel to B, B is parallel to C, and C is parallel to D. So it's pretty much everything I just said. Okay? Next one. If pieces A, B, C must be parallel, so that means that this is parallel, and this is parallel. If all of these guys are parallel, what must be true of angle 1, 2, and 3? Well, if I were to extend this line, if I was to extend this A here, and this B here, and this C here, what do I know? And if this was my transversal, let's just say, this, and this are all example of what? These are corresponding angles. And what do we know about corresponding angles that lie on parallel lines? That they are congruent. So 1, 2, and 3 are congruent. 1, 2, and 3 are congruent right here, B. Okay. Now, this is one of those two-column proofs that we talked about. So we're first given that 1 and 2 form a linear pair. So 1 and 2 are a linear pair. What does a linear pair mean? A linear pair is two angles that form 180 degrees. So this is saying that the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 is 180. So it's saying that this and this are 180. And how do I know that? Because of the linear pair theorem. Now, if 1 and 2 are congruent, so 1 is congruent and 2 is congruent, Well, what does each of these angles have to be then? So if two angles form a linear pair and they each have to be congruent, then that means that each one must be 90. And we know that because of the equal supplementary angles theorem. So the 90 and the equal supplementary angles theorem. You can look that up on your notes. There's a slide there on your notes with equal supplementary angles. Okay. So determine the value of x that makes A and B parallel. Okay, so if A and B are parallel, then that means that this angle and this angle are what to each other? They are alternate interior angles, which means that they have to be congruent. So I'll do 124 is equal to 2x plus 20. Subtract the 20, I get 104 equals 2x, and this should be what, 52? So x is equal to 52. Okay. Now, this is where we actually start getting into 3.6 and 3.7, which is great because this is what we've been learning about. That's going to be really important on the test. So find the slope of the line that goes through the given points. We know that slope is what? M equals y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. Remember, you can label anything x1, y1, and x2, y2 as long as you are consistent. For example, if you say x1 here, you cannot say y2. It has to be x1, y1 or x2, y2. So now, what is 3 minus 7? That is negative 4. What is 2 minus negative 1? That is 3. So my slope is negative 4 over 3. Find the slope of the line that goes through the given points. Once again, same thing. y2 minus y1. So x1, y1, x2, y2. What is negative 4 minus negative 7? That is 3. Right? 3. What is 8 minus negative 1? That is 9. 3 over 9 can be simplified by the greatest common factor, which is 3. And that'll give me 1 over 3, which is my slope. So find the slope and the y-intercept point of the following line. Luckily, this is written really easily for us. This is written really easy for us because this is already in the format of y equals mx plus b, where m is my slope, so my slope is negative 3, and my b is negative 4. Because of this negative, make sure you put negative 4, not just 4. So now how do we write the y-intercept? As 0 comma negative 4. And my slope is 3, negative 3. Negative 3, 0 comma negative 4. You have to put an ordered pair, okay? If you don't put an ordered pair, you're not going to get the answer right. So, find the slope and the y-intercept point of the following line. This one's a little bit harder because this is written in standard form, so we have to convert it to slope-intercept form. So, let's move the 5x. Move the 5x. So we're going to get negative 7y equals negative 5x plus 13 divided by negative 7 divided by negative 7. Negative 5 divided by negative 7 just gives me 5 over 7x minus 13 over 7. Why minus? Because this is positive 13 divided by negative 7. That gives me negative 13 over 7. And this negative 13/7 is my y-intercept, and 5 over 7 is my slope. So find the slope of the following line. This is very easy if we understand what the slope of lines with just an x equals c is and a y equals c is, where c is just any number, a constant. So this lines that have this format are vertical lines. And what are the slope of vertical lines? The slope of vertical lines are undefined. If it's y equals something, this is a horizontal line. And horizontal lines have a slope of 0. They are not the same thing. So the reason why x equals 2 is a horizontal line is because if I was to plot this point right here at 2 and I made a vertical line, this point here would be 2, 0. This point here would be 2, 1. This would be 2, 2. This would be 2, negative 1. 2, negative 2. What is the common thing that I keep repeating? That the x coordinate has been 2. So if the x coordinate is always 2, that means that this line is x equals 2. Now you could have also done it the old-fashioned way, which is doing x1, y1, x2, y2. So this is 6 minus 2, 6 minus 2, which is 4, and 2 minus 2, which is 0. Anything when 0 is on the denominator, that is undefined. When 0 is on the numerator, that is the slope of 0. So the slope is undefined. Once again, look, this is y equals negative 1. When you have a y equals c, that is just a slope of 0. And you could do the same thing with the slope if you wanted to find your slope. x1, y1, x2, y2. What is negative 1 minus negative 1? That's negative 1 plus 1, which is 0. What is 4 minus 0? That is 4. 0 over 4 is just 0. Okay? Now, determine whether the following lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Well, parallel lines must have the same slope and different y-intercepts. Perpendicular lines must have opposite reciprocal slopes. So opposite reciprocal slopes would be like if I had 3 over 2, the opposite reciprocal slope would be negative 2 over 3. Opposite meaning I went from positive to negative, or I went from negative to positive. And reciprocal meaning that you switch the numerator and the denominator. So if we take a look here, negative 9 and 9 are definitely not the same slope, so it can't be parallel. Negative 9 and 9 are not opposite reciprocals of each other. They're just opposite of each other. So that means, are they perpendicular? No. So the only option is neither. They are neither. Okay? So here we can determine whether the pair of lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So the way that you want to do this first is that you want to turn this into slope-intercept form, because this is a standard form. It's a lot harder to determine what the equation of lines are, meaning are they perpendicular, are they parallel, without having it as slope-intercept form. It's just easier in that way. So let's turn this first one into the slope-intercept form. So the first thing I want to do is add the 6x to the other side. So I'm going to do 3y equals 6x plus 5. And divide by 3, divide by 3. So y equals, what is 6 over 3? That is just 2. So 2x. And then 5 divided by 3 is just 5 over 3. So this is the same equation as this first one. So I'm going to shade it in orange. And now in green, let's do this bottom one. So once again, I'm going to move the 2x to the other side, so I need to subtract it. So this is negative y equals negative 2x plus 5. I'm going to divide by negative 1 to get rid of this little invisible 1 that's there. So that goes away. Divide everything here by negative 1, so my y is equal to 2x minus 5. Now, these two equations have the same slope and different y-intercepts, so we can't say that they are parallel. Okay, the pitch of a roof is its slope. So they're pretty much just asking me what is the slope of this right here, of this. So how much do I need to travel to go from here to here? Well, I needed to travel how much? 15. So let me draw a little line. So from here all the way up was 15, and all the way to here is 24. So what is 15 over 24? The greatest common factor, I believe, is 3. So we can divide by 3, which will give me 5 over 8. So 5/8. 5/8. So find the slope of a line perpendicular to the following line. Okay, so, oh, that one's easy. So it's just, they don't even want the whole equation, they just want the slope. Find the slope of a line perpendicular to the following line. So if the slope of a line that's perpendicular, has to be opposite reciprocals. So what is the opposite reciprocal of negative 7 over 6? It is positive 6 over 7. State the slope and the y-intercept point of the line with the equation y equals x. So this y equals x is indeed in the format of y equals mx plus b. The only reason it looks weird is because I don't have a b over here. But in reality, I do. It's just what? 0. And if it's 0, then that means that the y-intercept is 0, 0. Okay? And the slope, I do have a slope. It's right here. It's just what? Invisible. It's a 1, because next to the coefficient of every variable is just 1. So my slope is 1, and my y-intercept point is 0, 0. Okay? So use the slope-intercept form of the linear equation to write the equation of the line with the given slope and y-intercepts. Okay, so they just want me to make a slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b, using this information. Right, oh, whoops. Using this information. So I know that my slope is negative 3. So y equals negative 3x. And what's my b? 0, 4. So plus 4. Very, very, very simple. Right? Okay. Use the slope-intercept form to graph the equation. So remember how whenever I do this, I always put the answer ready. I always put show me the answer. So on your exam, you won't have this line. But let's just pretend it's not there. I think we should all know how to graph by now. The first thing we do is plot the y-intercept, which is 0, negative 3, which is right here. And now what is my slope? My slope is 3, which is really 3 over 1. So I'm going to rise up by 3. 1, 2, 3, and then 1 to the right. And that is your line. That's it. Okay, same thing here, except it's going to be a little bit harder because I should turn this into slope-intercept form. So let's do that. I'm going to add 3x, add 3x. So I should have 2y equals 3x plus 1, divide by 2, divide by 2. Y equals 3 over 2x plus 1/2. So 1/2 is right here. And what was my slope? Up 3, 2 to the right. So yeah, up 3 to the right. Well, let me make this a little bit smaller. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, right here. It does look a little weird because they plotted 2 points like that, but the way that they did it is that they plugged in x for 1. So that's why it came out so weird. So here, so the way that they got this answer, this one down here, was by just doing 0, 1/2, because that's what my intercept is. The way that they got this point as 1, 2 is that they plugged in x for 1, or they plugged in 1 for x. So over here, they plugged in a 1. So let's do it if this was a 1. It'd be y equals 3/2 times 1 plus 1/2. This is y equals 3/2, because anything times 1 is just itself. And now this, what is 3/2 plus 1/2? That is just 4/2, which is 2. So when my x is 1, my y is 2. That's how they got 1, 2 over here. Okay. So what about this next one? Find an equation of the line having the given slope and containing the point. So they want an equation that looks like this. So they want a slope-intercept form. So let's write that down. Y equals mx plus b. All I know is that I have my slope, so y equals negative 9x plus b. Now I just don't have my b. So in order to find my b, I need my b to be the only variable there. So I need a value of x and y, and they gave it to me over here. So we just plug those two guys in. So negative 2 equals negative 9 times 1 plus b. Negative 2 equals negative 9 plus b plus 9 plus 9. So my b is equal to 7. Now that my b is equal to 7, now I can write down my entire slope-intercept form, which is y equals negative 9x plus 7. Okay? All right, we're almost done. Same exact problem. It literally is the same exact problem. So they want the answer in slope-intercept form. So y equals mx plus b, with my m being negative 1/5, x plus b. Now I have these values. So I'm going to have my y is 0. This is negative 1/5 times negative 3/1 plus b. 0 equals 3/5 plus b minus 3/5 minus 3/5. So now my b is equal to negative 3/5. So now I can write down my entire equation, which is y equals negative 1/5 x minus 3/5, which is exactly what it has here. Okay. Find the equation of the line that passes through the given points. Write the equation in slope-intercept form. So once again, they want it in slope-intercept form. So they want it like this. And this time they didn't even give me my slope, which kind of stinks, right? So I have to find my slope. So what is slope again? Slope is y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So x1, y1, x2, y2. So what is 22 minus 17? That is 5. What is negative 4 minus negative 3? That is negative 1. So 5 divided by negative 1 is just negative 5. So my slope is negative 5. So y equals negative 5x plus b. Now you can choose which one of these 2 points you want to use. I guess I'll choose the second one because I like even numbers more than odd numbers. So let's make this my x and this my y. So 22 equals negative 5 times negative 4 plus b. 22 equals, what's negative 5 times negative 4? That is 20 plus b minus 20 minus 20. My b is equal to 2. So now that my b is 2, now I can write down my final answer as a slope-intercept form, how they wanted it. Right here, y equals something. So y equals negative 5x plus 2. Okay. Same thing, right? Find the equation of a line that passes through the following points. Write the equation in slope-intercept form. So y equals mx plus b. My n is going to be negative 9 minus negative 8, which is negative 1. What is negative 4 minus negative 2? That is negative 2. Well, negative 1 over negative 2 is just positive 1 over 2. So I have y equals 1/2 x plus b. Which points do you want to use? Let's use the first one this time. So let's let this be x and this be y. So I'm going to have negative 8 equals 1/2 times negative 2 over 1 plus b. This cancels to give a 1. This cancels to give a negative 1. So I'm going to have negative 8 equals negative 1 plus b plus 1 plus 1. My b is equal to negative 7. Now I can put my final answer as y equals, what was the slope? 1/2. What is the b? Negative 7. Okay. Now write the equation. Now this is a tricky question because it's actually a lot simpler than you think. Write an equation of the line, but look at this. There's a slope of 0. What do we know about lines that have a slope of 0? They are horizontal. And what do we know about horizontal lines? How do we express them? As y equals c or x equals c? Horizontal lines are y equals c. And my c is a number. Which number is that? The y coordinate. So which one's my x and my y? Negative 3. So my y is just negative 3. That's it. Okay. Now, look at this one. Look at the next one. Write an equation of the line of vertical. Okay, wait. What do we know about vertical lines? Vertical lines have a slope of undefined. Okay, that's cool. It's not really important right here because we want the equation of the line, not the slope. So the equation of a vertical line is it x equals c or y equals c? Remember, x equals c is vertical and y equals c is horizontal. So what is my c? It's going to be my x coordinate, which is negative 2. So x is equal to negative 2. Good. Okay. Now this is where it starts getting a little harder, right? So find the equation of the line that passes through the point 3, 8 and is parallel to the line y equals 2x minus 4. So find the equation of the line that passes through the points. So we want the equation of a new line that passes through this point 3, 8. And that's parallel to this line already. So right there, I know that my new equation has to be y equals mx plus b. But I already know one thing about this new equation. It's parallel to this one. So that means if it's parallel, it must have the same slope or opposite reciprocal slope. The same slope, right? So this is already y equals 2x plus b. Perfect. So now I just need to find my b. Did they give me an x and y value to plug in there? Yes, they did. They gave me this one. So I'm going to plug in 8 equals 2 times 3 plus b. 8 equals 6 plus b. Subtract 6. my b is equal to 2. Now I have my slope, I have my y-intercept, so my equation is y equals 2x plus 2, which is right there. All right, what's next? Okay, the next one. Find the equation of the line that passes through the points 7, negative 2 and is perpendicular to the line y equals 1/5 x minus 2. Okay, so they want my answer in slope-intercept form again. So I'm going to do y equals mx plus b. Now, what do I know about this new line? This new line that I want to make. I know that this new line is going to pass through the points 7, negative 2, and is going to be perpendicular to this line. Well, if it's perpendicular, then that means I know that the slope is going to be the opposite reciprocal slope. What is the opposite reciprocal of 1/5? That is just -5. And now I just plug in my x and y. -2, -5 times 7 plus b. -2 equals -35 plus b plus 35 plus 35. B is equal to 33. So now that I know my slope, I know my y-intercept. My answer is y equals -5x plus 33. Okay. Guys, it's a lot of the same. I'm giving you a lot of practice problems so you can practice, all right? But if you don't do it, there's not much. I've already taught you how to do it. Now it's just a matter of, do you want to put in the work to apply the process every time? And notice what I'm doing, guys. I've written y equals mx plus b like 10 times already. Because that's the steps, that's how you got to do it. That's how you're going to consolidate all this, okay? So let's do this next one. Find the equation of the line that passes through the points, blah, blah. Write the equation in standard form. Okay, so now they want me to write it in standard form, which is ax plus by equals c. And we know that standard form has two criteria. There cannot be any fractions, and the a must be positive. So let's just go about doing this. We want to turn it to slope-intercept form first. Okay, so y equals mx plus b. Okay, now what is my slope? Let's find it. Okay, so this can be x1, y1, x2, y2. So 8 minus 11 is -3. 5 minus 2 is 3, so my slope is -1. Okay, nice, easy. So y equals -x plus b. Okay, so now let us find our b. We need to find our b first. So let's use these first ones because this is a little easier. So my y is 11, my x is 2, right? -2 because of the 2 right here, plus b. 11 equals -2 plus b plus 2 plus 2. So my b is 13. Now let's plug this back in to get my slope-intercept form. So I have y equals -x plus 13. Now in order to turn into the standard form, I need to move my x to the left now, to the other side of the equation. So plus x plus x. I should have x plus y equals 13. And that's my answer. Okay. Find the equation of the line. Find the equation of the line. Write the equation of the line in standard form. Okay, so I want it to pass through these points and is parallel to this line. Okay, so we're gonna have to do a couple steps because I don't know the slope when the equation is in standard form like that with 6x plus 7y. I don't know that, so I need to turn it into slope-intercept form. So how do we go about doing that? We move the x to the right side. So 7y equals -6. Whoa. -6x plus 9. Divide by 7. Divide by 7. Y equals -6/7. Plus 9/7. Okay, so this is the slope-intercept form. Now I know that my new line, the one that I'm trying to construct, because remember, this and this is the same exact thing. No difference. All I did was that I took this line, this form, and I converted it to the slope-intercept form so that I can actually find the slope of the line that's parallel to this one. So I know that my new equation, let's do it back in blue, my new equation is going to be y equals, what's the slope again? -6/7. -6/7x. But it's going to have a different b because I don't know the b yet. I know the b for the first one, but not the second one. I need to find that, which is what we've been doing this whole time, right? So they gave me 2 points. They gave me this point and this point. So -7 equals -6/7, 9/1 plus b. So -7 equals, what is -6 times 9? 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54. -54/7 plus b. Now, how can I make this easier for me to solve? Because I have a denominator under it, and adding fractions is going to be a pain in the butt. So instead, I can multiply the entire equation by this denominator, 7. So now what is 7 times -7? -49. What am I doing? Oh yeah, negative 7 times -54/7. These 7's just cancel out. So I'm going to have -54. And now 7 times b is 7b. So let's add 54. Add 54. That's going to give me 5 over here. 7b divided by 7. So my b is equal to 5/7. So now I know that the equation, the slope-intercept form of my new equation that is parallel to this original one is y equals -6/7x plus 5/7. But I do not, this is not my final answer. This is my slope-intercept form, but it's not my final answer. I need to turn this into standard form. So let's add the 6/7x to the other side. So I should have 6/7x plus y equals 5/7. Now there's only one more problem, is that I cannot have any fractions on my standard form, so I need to multiply everything by 7 once again to get rid of this and to get rid of this one. So I'm going to have 6x plus 7y equals 5. So that is my final answer. Where is it? Right here on the bottom. Okay, so I know that one's hard, and if you have any questions, I would not mind at all doing that. So, okay, 73. It's a callback, right? Find the length of the line segment whose endpoints are given. What is the same thing as saying the length of a line segment? The distance. So you're gonna have to find distance, and we already talked about how we find distance, right? If I have a point at -1, 10, and I have another point at -13, -2, -2, we need to find this line. But what do we know about this line? It has a diagonal slope, right? It's not straight up or down, it's not straight left and right. So I'm gonna have to create, you guessed it, an invisible triangle, right? So what is the distance from 10 to -2? That is 12. What's the distance from -1 to -13? That is 12 again, 12. Now, this is my C, this is my A, this is my B, with the Pythagorean theorem, right? And now I do my Pythagorean theorem. And what are we trying to solve for? We're trying to solve for C. So I'm gonna have C squared equals, what's A squared? What's 12 times 12? 144. 12 times 12 is 144. C c squared equals 288. Square root 288. We can factor this out because look, they want the answer using radicals, right? So let's factor that out. I'm grabbing my calculator. So we can do 288 divided by 4. Okay, so that's going to be square root of 4 times square root of 72. We can keep dividing that by 4 again. Square root of 4 times square root of 18. We can divide that by 2 to give me square root of 2 times square root of 9. Now, this 4 comes outside of the radical to give me a 2. This 4 also comes out of the radical to give me a 2. This 9 comes out of the radical to give me a 3. And this square root of 2 stays on the inside. What's 2 times 2 times 3? That is 12. So the answer is 12 square root of 2. Okay, so I told you, distance is important. It's going to come up all the time. So that's it. Please come to tutoring and ask me for help on this one, these last two, anything that was confusing, please come and ask me during tutoring. Okay, I'll see you guys. Good luck studying.